Indiana Jones, Indiana. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we get to the heart of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Pete Mummert, and I touch nothing.
Well done, Pete.
I'm Jerry Porter, and as much as I'd like to touch, I still touch nothing.
And we are joined again by our buddy Doris from Germany. Welcome, Doris.
Hi. Yeah, and I touch nothing whatsoever.
We are all hands-free today on the Indiana Jones Minute, where we discuss minute 55 of Temple of Doom, and 55 begins with Indy telling Shorty to stay behind him, and it ends with Shorty thinking he's stepping on some sort of cookie like double-stuffed Oreos or Nutter Butters or Lorna Doones or something. I'm not sure what.
Nutter Butters.
So I love this because Indy says, "Stay behind me, short round. Step where I step, and don't touch anything." And Shorty immediately does the opposite of every single thing that Indy just said.
As he says
Not
that.
even waiting. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a kid.
And you know what's really weird? He's clearly looking directly at Indy when Indy gives him that directive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's looking at Indy's back. He's not looking into his eyes, so it doesn't count.
I don't know. You can sort of see them veer off in like side-by-side directions. Like it's obvious to everybody, including us, that he's not following him.
So is this here an example of, Shorty being more like a son?
Yeah, he's
Because
testing
he's-
boundaries.
He's not paying attention to what his dad tells him to do. He does the opposite, as opposed to the sidekick or his partner in crime. You know what I mean? Then you would pay attention. You'd be like, right, I got you.
Right. Well, I mean, you can't take away that he's a little kid, too.
Yeah,
That's
and
a
then,
huge part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you take one look at that door or wall or whatever that is supposed to be,
Yeah.
and it kind of begs you to pull the handle. It looks... I mean, I'm impressed still after all these years with the visual effects of the movie. But that wall, I've never seen a faker-looking wall in my life.
I don't get what's like. I don't even see what does he touch exactly? Like, what does he do to make it collapse?
This is
Something
my
like a
thing
door
here.
handle, I think.
Yeah, he opens the door. It's like one of those old-timey circular door handles, right? And he pulls it, and it comes off in his hand, and then the door actually bursts open, and Mo and Joe Googly Eye pop out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it might be because now it's the HD version, it's the Blu-ray, and you actually see those fault lines where it's supposed to break open and the blaster is kind of chipped already, and it looks like a fairground ride to me.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the door crumbles and bursts. It doesn't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
it
have
explodes.
like Pete. You had a lot of questions about the mural. I have a lot of questions about this little situation.
Oh, yeah.
With these. I mean, first of all, did those guys die palling around? Because they kind of have their arms around each other, like, "Hey, buddy," like they kind of both have their arms around each other, not hugging, but kind of like as if you're walking down the street with your buddy and you got your arms around each other. And did they both die simultaneously that way, like happily?
Yes.
We're the spooky twins.
Maybe they were just on their way back home from St. Patrick's Day parade,
Yeah, that's probably it.
and they stumbled into the wrong kind of side street, and
Yeah.
Maybe they were leaving like an exceptional Temple of Doom ceremony or something, and they were happy, and they just took a wrong turn. I mean, like, were those Temple of Doom congregants?
Well, I was wondering that too. Are they good guys or are they bad guys? Like, are they bad guys who the good guys chained up? Or are they the good guys that the bad guys chained up?
Oh, yeah.
Did they die together?
I
Like,
think
did they
probably.
know? Like, are they brothers? I mean, they're
In
both
arms?
like both of their heads are shaved. But are they monks?
Molaram's predecessors?
Yeah.
They looked very familiar to me, though, and I figured out who they look like. One guy looks like the deactivated CZ droid in the Sandcrawler in Star Wars, and the other guy looks like the droid who's being tortured in Return of the Jedi in Jabba's palace.
We're back in the Han fever dream territory. Yeah.
Except that they have this like happy-go-lucky pluck to their
They
death.
do. They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do not look scary at all.
No.
Sorry.
You said it perfectly, Doris. It's very like funhouse, like,
Oh, yeah.
roadside, fairground thing, haunted house business.
And behind them, it looks like there's a passageway.
It does.
yeah.
So it's like, so I'm writing the story here. They were running up some different passage, probably happy. Probably like just maybe even coming out of the Temple of Doom, or maybe even coming out of the happy temple that was the Temple of Doom before it was, taken over. And then they get to the door, and they got their arms around each other, and they get to the door and something kills them. Or chains come down and rip them up or whatever.
Or maybe another fake wall comes down on the other side.
Maybe another fake wall. Yeah.
Well, they are chained up, right? They're like, their arms are up.
they're
They're
chained
chained
up.
from like
Kind
the
of.
ceiling. Yeah.
Just like that droid in Return of the Jedi, yeah.
right.
Well,
Spread eagle.
in the
Yeah.
novelization, if I may.
Oh, yeah, please do.
Yeah, well, kind of says Shorty sees the door, and how can Indy not have seen that door? He kind of wants to show Indy that there is another entrance. So,
Oh, so he's trying to like impress him with his
impress
discovery?
him with his discovery, exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
Huh.
Ah, sure.
And he keeps, well, the novelization, as I said, gives us some insight into his character. He is a lot vocal in that scene in the book, where he doesn't say anything in that scene besides "I step where you step."
Uh-huh.
He's praying all the time. He's like
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
warning Indy of ghosts, and he has his knife drawn, which he
Really?
doesn't in the
Wow.
yeah.
When he's praying, is he Buddhist?
It says just Chinese prayers, so Buddhist, whatever.
Well, we also get a nice little like a minor key version of Shorty's theme right here too, which once
Yeah.
again makes me wonder, is Short Round actually the hero of the movie?
Yeah, the music
He
cue.
might be. Yeah.
And the wind is back. The wind is back.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I actually have that ticked as a sad version of Short Round's theme.
I was going to say. No, no, no.
Oh, you're the sad movie themes. Oh my god.
Well, Doris, I'm curious. I mean, we've been talking about Willie and Shorty and stuff, but where we know you're not crazy about Willie, but where do you stand on Shorty? Because he can be a controversial character.
Well, I'm coming around on Willie.
Okay.
For the longest time, I kind of was very annoyed with Short Round because he's such for a kid, he is very, very forward. But then,
Yeah.
of course, he is supposed to be that way, and he has lived on the street for a couple of years. He has fended for himself. He's basically a grown-up in a child's body, so let's forgive him.
Yeah,
And he saves the day more than once.
Yeah.
he does.
And I liked it. I like Indy's reaction. I give Indy a really hard time in these movies, like harder time than I give the other characters, I think. But I think his reaction here to Short Round is great because Short Round says, "I step where you step, I touch nothing," and Indy doesn't get mad. He doesn't yell at him. He just puts like a calm, reassuring hand on his shoulder, and it's just a very nice, paternal, like fatherly, kind moment. And
That is
there aren't
nice.
a lot of those, but I like it.
Probably also a moment of recognition because did Indy listen to his own dad?
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Indy let Shorty make his own mistake and learn from it, and by golly, he's gonna be a man someday.
He didn't rub his nose in the googly eye, googly eye Mo and Joe corpses.
Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Yeah.
Like you said the minute before, when he saunters in from the other room where there's a dead body on the ceiling fan, he kind of gets over it pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that he's upset about it, but then he's like, "All right, next. I'm awake now."
See, I love when Indy and Short Round are a team. And
Yeah.
you see that at the end of this minute. They're both working together as a team. They're side by side in the cave, and they're stepping on something that's either Nutter Butters, fortune cookies, whatever.
Right.
I'm most comfortable there. And it's tough because I wish Shorty wasn't 7. You know, I'd prefer if they were partners, you know. I guess he was of appropriate age to.
Well, in the book,
to
he's
either-
12.
In the book, he's 12.
In the book,
That
he's
makes a little
12.
more sense. Yeah.
I guess. Although, what I noticed even on this minute, Tom
Yeah.
and Doris, both you guys pronounce Short Round the same way, which is the way Pete was saying, like Short Round.
Yeah. So?
As opposed to what?
I like how Tom says short round.
Yeah, that's it. It's short. Yeah, short
Yeah,
round.
short
That's what I
round.
meant.
Short
Short
round.
round.
Yeah.
Because it
Short
refers to a
round.
bullet, right? So it's a short round of ammunition.
Oh, wow, you're
Wow.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but of course,
That must be what I'm doing.
his name is Shorty and not Roundy.
I do like, so we cut back to Willie here though, and she's shivering and cold, which is interesting because they're in a tropical, jungle setting. It's and
she's
they're
freaked
literally
out.
sitting above a thing filled with hot lava.
Yeah.
But
I love how she kind of tries to imitate Indy now and kind of pushes the other statue and so very, very squeamishly until she touches
Yeah.
the breasts.
But that made me wonder: does every one of these statues lead to a different temple? Like, is it kind of like Narnia? What is her end game here? Like, what does she think? Does she think she's going to find an easier passage to where they're going, or does she just want to show Indy she can also find a passage? Like, why does she try this?
She just wanted an excuse to grab the boobs, I think.
Yeah, and that scene is kind of strange because, don't they say like sexuality is sort of like a scale, like a 1 to 10, and if some people are like intensely repulsed by, I guess their own gender, like thoughts of sex with, males on males or females on females. And then some people are some people that's all they want and they're like really, attracted to that. And here we have this scene where Willie is like repulsed by the boobs.
I don't know if I'd say repulsed.
Is she repulsed?
She's kind of like,
She's antsy about it.
there's something kind of almost
squeamish.
homophobic about it.
I don't know.
Well, why is she squeamish of the boobs? Let me just ask you. I mean, why is she squeamish of the boobs?
She's just maybe never gone down that path, and she's I think the fact that she does it, she's in the room alone, nobody's watching her, and
But
she goes
she
to do
gives-
this thing. Yeah.
She gives a side glance at someone, like
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think
asking
it's-
for permission. Who's she looking at?
I think it's Steven Spielberg. She wants to see if he's into that. And, go invite somebody in.
I mean,
But I
but I
don't know.
guess I don't know. I mean, Pete, if you had a secret passageway and you had to push on a dude's crotch, like a statue of a dude's crotch, but you had to do it. You just saw what happened. You
Yeah.
saw that if you did it, you'd go down this crazy shaft, so to speak.
But see, I think what Doris said is I think she's more concerned with the appearance of it than she's with actually touching them. Like, I think that's where she kind of gives
Right.
that side glance. Like, she doesn't want anyone to see her doing that.
Yeah. It could be an assassin.
So she
in the
kind
room,
of
we don't know.
halfway does it.
But she's so like sexually liberated. She was just holding her own and offering them up.
Yeah, and I think maybe that is it. She is used to kind of be her own woman, and during the course of this movie, she's again and again kind of shown, you know nothing. And again, she didn't notice that there was a draft in the room. She didn't notice that there might have been a secret passage. She kind of feels everybody is discovering things. I don't. I feel so inadequate in this setting.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me try. At least maybe I can find another thing and show them that I'm not the stupid blonde girl who's good for nothing here. She'll do it later.
Which is what Indy seems to think, though, because he just leaves her. Like, he and Shorty just take off. And
Yeah.
apparently they're just going to leave her there.
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, in an earlier draft version of the script, I think there was another scene where he tells her, if we're not back in an hour, go alert Captain Blumberg and stuff. So,
Oh, interesting.
which is totally cut, so
Yeah.
she is literally left with nothing to do.
I gotta say, there's something about the fact that she's in this opulent palace bedroom and they're in this weird, dank, scary, spooky underground thing, but they're connected. And through a secret path, there's something, I have dreams like that all the time where like I'm in my house and I discover some other door that leads to this whole other place or something. And there's something about, they like later on, they yell to her. She can still hear them. They're still connected.
But
they're in
Yeah.
No, I'm saying I have like it's in a dream. It's, like it's,
Okay.
I go to this whole other section that I never knew about. And it's just, there's something about that two totally different places that are connected and they can still hear each other and stuff. I kind of like that a lot.
I like that a lot.
How long is this passage? How long have Indy and Shorty walked into? Because you can always, at their back, there's always a light. Mm-hmm. They don't carry torches. They have no flashlights. They have no candles. But there's always light from the back. It's like the walls are illuminated in this green glow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it fluorescent moss or something? Because I wonder, where does the light come from? Or it's a really, really short passage. If it's that one lamp from Willie's room.
I want to know, like what kind of Orcan pest device is placed at that Apsara statue, where it's like there's no insects at all that are in the bedroom, like zero. Because that's like a hell of a TripAdvisor review.
There are no insects. There are no insects in that trapdoor thing either. So it's just,
that's right.
Yeah.
They go around the corner into this very narrow passage, and all of a sudden there's something on the floor.
Yeah.
And we get a very familiar sound right here.
Crunch.
This is Ben Burt's casserole again.
Oh, is it?
The cheese.
I love that casserole.
I love that it's the same scene from the last movie that I'm in now. The cheese casserole. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Ring theory, guys. Ring theory.
Even applies to podcasts.
Yes. Is there something similar in, what is the
Last
third
Crusade?
one? Exactly.
Oh,
Thank you.
Oh, there might be with the rats, actually.
I think, exactly. I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. Oh, yeah. Fortune cookies. Fortune cookies.
Fortune and glory cookies. Maybe this was the fortune and glory, but maybe that's what he meant.
Fortune and racism.
2 million fortune cookies.
So fortune cookies, this like immediately rung a bell for me because fortune cookies weren't from China and they wouldn't have been in China when this movie was set.
No, come on. Really?
They're a Western
fortune
invention,
cookies
right?
were invented right here in home of Marshall College, San Francisco, California.
I'm not understanding a word you're saying.
San Francisco, Marshall College. My hoodie.
Wow.
No.
Wait, is that true though?
Yeah, they were invented by a gardener at the Japanese tea garden in Golden Gate Park, right
So
around
they're
1900.
Japanese.
And he was a landscape gardener. Yeah, they originally came from Japan, and he invented them. And then they started making their way into Chinese restaurants in the U.S., but they were not anywhere near China even by the 1930s. So what that leads me to believe is that either Indy brought a bag of fortune cookies to Short Round, and that's how he knows about them, or else Short Round has visited the U.S.
Huh.
Huh.
In which case, it's not racist at all that he says fortune cookies. He's like, hey, remember those cookies you gave me before?
Hey, it sounds great things from the United States. Yeah.
I mean, where did Shorty learn English?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it possible Shorty's American?
Weird. And his parents were vacationing in Japan?
Yeah,
or in, in
Yeah.
Shanghai when they got bombed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe he had some other grown-up person from America or from Britain or wherever take care of him
Maybe.
before he met Indy, and fortune cookies there.
Yeah.
Could be.
Or maybe Indy just shows up in China and he's like, hey, where are the fortune cookies? And Shorty's like, what's that?
I remember being in Chinatown in San Francisco, and you take a little tour of the fortune cookie factory or plant.
really?
Yeah. Was I with you, Pete?
Yeah, it's on that same alley that has that drum shop you like.
Yeah, and they kind of like they pour what looks like a batter into a little mold, and it goes along the line, and eventually it cools. And I don't remember how they get the actual fortune in there. I guess they just throw it in the batter.
And how do they know I'm going to get which cookie? How do they figure that out?
Oh, they have
They have teams working on that.
yeah,
good.
teams working on that.
Top men? Okay.
Top men. I was blown away though. You can actually watch them make the fortune cookies right
cool.
there, and then you can buy them.
Yeah.
And I
Step on
did.
'em.
Yeah, instead you can fill a whole cave of them and then build a palace over it.
I mean, Shorty is an avid moviegoer. He's referencing old-timey black and white movies all the time in the novel.
Oh, really?
He could have come across fortune cookies in the movies, though.
Maybe. Well, let's be honest. Do we think that the movie makers knew anything about the actual origin of fortune cookies? Or that they were taking the Asian kid and saying that he's stepping on fortune cookies?
Are you suggesting that a movie about an archaeologist knows nothing about history?
It's possible. It could happen. I bet if we dug deep enough, we'd find some inaccuracies.
Probably. It's strange that like movies that are so historically incorrect as Indiana Jones movies spawn so many people to go into history.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
And they still like the movies afterwards.
Well, that's what we said. Like when you know, I always want to be an archaeologist, and when you're really sitting there and like, you know, your fourth semester with the little black brush, you know, be like, God, this sucks. You're in the hot desert sun, and you're like,
getting the sunburn.
yeah, maybe. Is that a nose that I'm looking at? Is that a nose of like the temple god? Oh, it just cracked in my hands.
It's a rock.
Whatever.
Is this the saddest line of the movie, actually?
Ding.
Besides Shorty saying goodbye to his elephant best friend?
Oh, what the fortune cookies one?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like, oh, come on. Movie.
That really got to you. That really
It did.
got to
I
you,
think that's
Tommy.
that.
All right.
That's a slap in the face. I think it's like it's again it's a combination of the laziness of this movie sometimes, and just the kind of loose, casual, kind of racist. I don't care what I'm actually saying. This sounds right, kind of thing.
You know what makes me wonder is the German dubbing version, right? So it doesn't say
yeah.
fortune cookies there. It's no Glückskekse. It's popcorn.
Oh, that's awesome.
Even in 1994 in Germany, in Chinese restaurants, you would have gotten fortune cookies at the end of your meal. So
Yeah.
I wonder why they translated it into popcorn.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Maybe they thought it was like Tommy. They're like, yeah, that's ridiculous, and that's
Yeah,
offensive.
maybe. That could have been like one guy like at the DVD factory, like, you know, dubbing everything or like doing the subtitles or whatever. Said, nah, come on, popcorn. Which, by the way, I bet stepping on bugs would feel a little bit more like popcorn than fortune cookies.
Yeah.
I've never stepped on fortune cookies. I've stepped on popcorn lots of times in movie theaters.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
See?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or did you? Maybe it was cockroaches. What movie theater were you at?
Well, I stepped on cockroaches when I was in the U.S. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Sorry.
When I
Los
was in the
Angeles for
Hey.
that matter.
Sometimes you
guess
can't
if
do
I-
anything about those things.
If I'm gonna pull out a lazy card, I'd probably use it for minute 54 with the mural and the little parchment.
Yeah. Well, that's a different
That's-
kind of lazy. There's a lot of
that's
different
a
levels of
different
lazy
kinda
in this movie. I'm talking about like the lazy, like, can somebody tell me where a phone is in this village?
Yeah,
Like that kind of lazy. Like, oh, that's like one of those funny lines, right? I'll just put that in and people will chuckle or something.
Yeah.
I got sad.
1984 was a different world.
It was.
I'm
Yeah.
not excusing it, but I think that line would have played a lot differently in 1984 than it would in.
I'm sure it did. I mean,
2017.
I did not bat an eyelash at it when I was, 13 in 1984. I'm like, haha, the Asian kid said fortune cookie. That's classic.
No, I did. I was right next to you going,
How do they do it?
Probably didn't even notice it in 1984.
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I don't think Jerry noticed it because it came after. Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah. Jared
I
was in the
haven't
men's
noticed
room for some
anything.
reason. Jared excused himself by that point.
I was in the bathroom of the movie theater pushing against walls and stalls.
And checking if there's a secret passage to somewhere else.
Yep. And also side glancing, make sure no one's
Yeah.
looking. Oh, that sucks.
Oh my. 1984. Good year. though.
1984, it's so much promise.
George Orwell was so hopeful.
Well, when I was 13, George Orwell was not really on my mind.
That's true. Exactly. Well, do we have anything else for 55?
Wait, this just in from Professor Christy Porter.
Get the stenographer.
Willie just failed her final in mammography school. There you go.
Did you just hear Chewie barking?
I did. Hey, Chewie.
Hey.
I think Chewie's our 4th dog barking in an episode this season.
Well, if there's nothing worse.
Dogs
than
love this show.
Barking. We're still a baby.
Come on, Chewie.
Yeah.
Well, Doris,
Yeah.
if people want to get in touch with Chewie or follow him somewhere, where could they do that? Or do you even want to tell anybody that?
Well,
I'm just
you
assuming you
could-
want to plug stuff.
you could log on to Facebook and find the Indiana Jones Minute Listeners Crusade or something
Sure.
like that. Or you could go to indianajonesminute.com, find out about all your guests. Yeah.
You did that beautifully.
Yeah.
That was
Thank you.
incredible. You don't even work here. That's a true fan.
Well,
that was good.
Maybe I'll get back to you when I need a job.
Perfect. You know where to find us. And everybody out there, you know where to find us. Here at the Indiana Jones Minute, and we'll be back next time with minute 56 of Temple of Doom, here on the Indiana Jones Minute. Cookies!
Popcorn!